What is up, guys? James here from the Lighter Viga YouTube channel, and in this video we're going to be doing a review and a flip through for the Nature's Whispers Oracle cards. You want to talk about an explosion of life and color, then you're talking about this deck. This deck is absolutely, the artwork is phenomenal. I don't know, you're going to see it, so don't take my word for it. Look for yourself. But yeah, that's the first thing you're going to notice about this deck is the artwork. It is incredible. So this deck is brought to us by Angela Hartfield. She's the curator and the one who wrote the book, but the artwork is by Josephine Wall. You might remember her from the Mystical Wisdom Oracle deck, another very popular Oracle deck. She's got a very distinctive artistic style, which definitely comes through, you will see. So let's just take a look at all the things that come with this deck, and then we'll look at these cards individually. The first thing is the box, and you know, it's a very standard box. It's nothing special. It is pretty sturdy, though. If you wanted to transport your cards, then I would say that this is a possibility. Not ideal, of course, because these edges will get rounded eventually. But it's pretty decent. It's a Blue Angel Publishing deck, so it's pretty good quality. Next, let's take a look at the little guidebook. It's a little bit more substantial than your little white booklet. This guidebook has information on the deck, the history of it. Here's the contents, if you wanted to pause and look what you got there. But yeah, it's pretty standard. It's got your how to clear the cards, how to read the cards, how to shuffle the cards, sure. Then it goes into a few spreads, which, you know, is not really important to me in an Oracle deck. I don't really need spreads. And then it goes into the meanings behind each card, and it gives a little paragraph. And these actually do come in handy, as I'll explain why in a moment. So yeah, it's a pretty good book. It's going to give you all the information you need to read this deck, so that's great. If you want to pause and see what kind of information each card has, you are free to do so. Cool, that's the book, and that's the box. Let's get into the deck a little bit. The cards, I'll say this about the card quality. Probably the best card quality I've ever seen in an Oracle deck. It's very thick. It's matted, sort of. But it's got this feel to it that is just absolutely incredible. It's a unique feeling. I know it sounds weird, but it's a unique feeling when you hold this deck. I don't know how to describe it. I've never seen any other deck like it with this kind of quality. So as far as cardstock quality, you are getting the best when you buy this deck. Absolutely. It does make it kind of hard to shuffle, but it's an Oracle deck, so you're not really expected to do anything other than that, right? I don't know. If you do the riffle shuffle, it's going to be kind of problematic. Let me see if I can do it. These cards are huge, by the way. They're like Druidcraft big. I mean, you could do it. It can be done, but it's not the best, not ideal, and you know, I don't like to bend the cards. Anyway, so let's get into what the cards look like as I talk about the pros and cons of this deck. Alright, I'm going to do a flip through, and we're going to look at these cards individually. As always, if you want to take a closer look at any of these images, then please feel free to pause the video. I'm going to be going pretty quickly as I talk about this, and there's just so much to see in each of these images. I understand there's so much to see. They're so detailed, and they're just, I think it's a strength and a drawback. The strength of this deck is the beauty of the artwork. I mean, look at that. The artwork is just absolutely incredible. This is my favorite card right here, the Inner Truths card. She's in a crystal cave, and look at the beautiful crystals all around. Oh my goodness, it's just great. But I think that's the beauty and the strength. The beauty is that each image has so much going on in it. It is so complex, and it is so busy with color and life and motion. Most or all of it is circles around nature and nature themes or nature aspects. So this is a very Gaia-based deck, as you will see. I mean, there's some angels, I guess, and there's definitely the fairy realm is represented. And I would just call it a Gaia-based deck, I would say. This is Nature's Whispers. But anyway, the the con is that sometimes it is very difficult to read these cards intuitively because there's just so much going on. You look at the card and like your imagination starts running in overdrive, and there's all sorts of different images. You're not sure which one you're meant to be, focused on. You're not sure which, image is bringing the message to you. So I will say that it is a little bit convoluted when, trying to read it intuitively. And again, the book does help definitely, but I'm not the type of person to rely on the book. I rather rely on my intuitive messages, and not to say that you're not going to get intuitive hits. What I'm saying is you're going to get too many. It's just going to come at you like a barrage of color, and so some of the images are simpler than others. Like this image, for instance, is not as complex as some of the other images. So acceptance of love. It's pretty easy to read that card, right? Same with this, heighten your vitality. While there are things going on here, it's not as busy or explosive as some of the other cards. But then you look at this and you're like, what? There's an owl, there's a keyhole, there's Stonehenge, it's bathed in light. You got a rainbow asteroid. She's got look at all the stuff going on in this card. It can be a little bit overwhelming sometimes, but I have found that the message is always there somewhere, and it takes a little bit of study to figure it out. Look at the seahorse. Be your best self always. Very positive affirmations. As far as the little sentence at the bottom, I think it definitely gives a little bit of a helping hand when reading this deck. It really shows you kind of what your intuition should focus on, like bountiful harvest. You see all this color. You kind of think of maybe like an abundance card, right? I love this card. Celebrate differences. You've got the unicorn and the dolphin being ridden, and such different opposing creatures, but they're so similar. And that really hammers the image or the message home. Vulnerability. Look at the colors on this. Oh man, this is one of my favorite Oracle decks just because the visuals. Look at this. There are 50 something cards, I believe. 50 cards. There are 50 cards in the set, ranging from 1 to 50. They're all numbered, so they're easy to find in the guidebook. I just used the guidebook when I was starting out with this deck, just to get a feel for what kind of types of messages this deck was trying to convey. But I quickly put it down. You might remember this image. It's been used actually quite a bit. So I've seen it around town. Okay, so definitely a very popular artist. She's from the UK, and this is definitely not her first rodeo as far as decks are concerned. She has more decks, and I think more decks coming in the future. She's a very talented artist, and I would say it's got a feminine energy to it, this artwork and this deck. We got butterflies, we got angels. There's a couple of cards with males portrayed, but generally this is a feminine deck, which is fine. When you're talking about Gaia, you think feminine, right? Feminine energy. So it seems right to have a lot of female energy in this card, since it's representative of Gaia and all her gifts and her whispers, right? Nature's whispers. Oh, look at that one. Oh, illumination. And there's just so much for your intuition to just run wild here. So I wouldn't recommend this as maybe like your first Oracle deck. This is going to be one of those Oracle decks that you really have to work up to as far as intuition-wise. Some Oracle decks are much more straightforward, much less busy. And, the images mean like maybe 1, 2, or 3 things. With this deck, the images can mean a whole lot of things, and you can pull out a lot of intuitive hits from these messages. So if you're not used to doing that, if you're not a professional at doing that, not a professional, but if you're not used to going off your intuition when reading cards and cartomancy, then this deck is going to be a little overwhelming at first, but I would highly recommend it for everyone. As you work up to this deck, you're going to find that this deck is absolutely amazing. There's very little negatively I can say about this deck. I love it. I've never even got that card before. I've used this deck thousands of times. I've never pulled that card in a reading. It's bizarre. You'll find with Oracle decks that the same cards always come up, and then you'll go years and never see another card. You'll never see a particular card. It's bizarre. But that's just how Oracle decks work. The messages are always on points. And if you're not listening to the message, you'll keep getting the same message over and over. So we're nearing the end here. I know that it was out of order, but that's all right. That is the Nature's... We'll start with one. Make a Wish. That is the Nature's Whispers Oracle deck from Blue Angel Publishing. And again, it's created by Angela Hartfield and Josephine Wall. I think you can find it on Amazon or wherever you buy your decks. It's a very popular deck, a famous deck, and it's a beloved deck for good reason. It is the Nature's Whispers Oracle, and it is amazing. So that is my review and flip through of the Nature's Whispers Oracle. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Remember to leave a like if you did enjoy it, if you got something out of it. And put any comments in the comment section below if you want to talk about this deck. If you have this deck and you want to put in your 2 cents, or if you're thinking about getting this deck, let me know in the comment section. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all the videos I release. You don't want to miss out on these deck reviews or monthly readings, bi-monthly readings, weekly readings. It's all gravy, baby. So hit that subscribe button. Alright, I hope you will check out the Nature's Whispers when you see it in your store, and give it a chance, because it is one of the most colorful decks on the market. The artwork it takes your breath away, and I highly recommend it, okay? So leave a like if you enjoyed this. Happy taroting. Peace.